Hey, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful day. I had a wonderful day today. I am just so excited. I have a young lady that I met via Facebook, Miss Kimberly Lewis. She's an author. She has videos on YouTube. You name it, she has it. So come on in, guys. Um, I'm just excited. Today's my first time meeting her. Sometimes you don't even know that. Sometimes the day of the live is the first time that I'm meeting the panelists, but we have been corresponding via text. But I am excited. I've read some of her work. I've watched a couple of videos for children's books, and I think you're going to like her. So come on in, guys. Come on in. Come on in. I know some of you are already on, so you know I have to check my phone. So don't laugh at a girl, all right? Um, come on in. Hey, I see you. I see two of you are on, so thank you so much. Come on in. Come on in. I have a young lady that I met. Hey, Kiara, that I met via Facebook. She's an author, she's an entrepreneur, and I've read some of her work. I've watched a couple of the videos, children videos, and I think that you're going to enjoy her. Yeah, okay, Kiara Williams, that's the publisher I was telling you about. And she said, yes, you're an amazing author. So see, there's some people who know you. And that's the young lady I was telling you about who's a vice president of a publishing company, Sunship.
Chef, that is correct. I was in her, I got a position in her mentor project of Sow a Seed. So, yes.
Yes. So that's the publisher I was talking about. Yeah, so she's awesome. I'm trying to think of what I could write so they could publish a little something for me. But yeah, so I mean it's just awesome. It's small world. Who would know that she would know you as well. So hey guys, come on in. I am just so excited. I met this young lady via Facebook. I've read some of her poems. I've watched some of the videos, and I believe you're going to enjoy her journey. We all have a journey. Some of it is good, some of it is dark, um, some of it we choose to forget. But if it's going to be beneficial for someone else, then we'll bring up those dark memories just to help you. So anybody that comes on this show, they bring up their life to help you. And I just hope that today, from the poems that she's going to read, she has a new publication coming out soon, that for those of us who are ladies who have experienced relationships, have experienced some lows in relationships, when she reads this poem called She, it's definitely going to make you think. And you know what? At the end of the day, the dark times that we have in our life make us who we are. That's why we're so bright. You know, we're so bright because we were able to push through everything that we've gone through. So listen, you want to be an author, you have a publisher on. You want to listen to someone's journey, we have an author here today who's going to tell you her journey. And maybe guess what? She has been on some of the streets that you're on right now. And the only thing that you need to do right now is to jump. Jump to Sunship Publishing. Jump to Sunship Publishing. Okay? And they will actually help you publish your book. So I know I'm hitting two things at one time, but listen, you have to be able to jump. And I would not recommend anybody that I feel who would take advantage of you. And as you heard, she's going to let you know that she was a mentor, right? Were you a mentee? Or
Yes, yes.
okay, so she's going to tell you that as well. So listen, come on in, guys. Man, I am just so excited. Like I said, I have watched some of the videos for the children's books that she has. I've read some of her writings, and man, it just had me thinking like, whoa, okay, all right. So this is touching on a lot of things. So come on in, guys. Come on in. I'm just so excited. I have an author by the name of Kimberly Lewis. That's her government name, but she's going to tell you what her business name is because I don't want to mess it up. So, but Kimberly Lewis is her name. That's who she is. But we're going to go down her journey with her as she takes us through her journey to becoming who she is. How about you? Do you have a journey? Would you like to come on and be one of the panelists? I'm sure that your journey will help someone else. And I have to, every list have been on Lamb Family Services Facebook Live has encouraged me. So listen, everybody is able to encourage someone. Even if it's one person, that means that your job has been completed. So come on in, guys. I see it's 6 of you on. Say hi. Say hi when you come in so I can see who you are. So I can say, hey, how you doing? And if possible, if you could tag and share. I just learned that from Pastor Jeffrey Conyers. He said, sis, ask them to tag and share. So, hey, I'm gonna ask you to tag and share. Of course, I have to learn how to do that as well. Once I get some of your Facebook Lives, I think I have Facebook Live with Kiera, Sonship Publishing. They having a something on the 28th. So I'm gonna learn how to tag and share. So when I learn how to do something, I'm gonna ask you to do it too. So tag and share. Come on in, guys. I'm just so excited. I met this young lady via Facebook. I've read some of her writings. I've watched some of her videos for children's books that she has on YouTube. How about that? She's utilizing all of the social media. And I tell you, I believe that you will be entertained with the life of Erin Lee. Just watching some of her videos and just listening to the bedtime stories. Hey, Cole, how you doing? Hey, Gwen. Hey, listen, guys, as you come in, just say hey, say hello so that we can acknowledge you. I'm just so excited. Nicole also is an author. She's written in a couple of magazines. I think she was a featured author in a couple of books. So we have a lot of people on here that they're not afraid to jump. I would love to jump. I just can't figure out what I'm jumping to if I'm a writer, you know. I could write, I could do papers and stuff like that, but to actually, you know, maybe I'm stopping myself. Maybe let me say that. Maybe I'm stopping myself. But yeah, I'm going to think of something to write. Hey, namesake, how are you? I'm going to think of something to put together. I'm going to give it to Kiera and let her look at it. And whatever she tells me to do with it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get something. I don't care if it's nothing but 15 pages. Just something, you know, to say, hey, I wanted to do this and I did it. And that's something off of my bucket list. Okay, Nicole was in 2 books and magazines and some coming up this year. Hey, Pastor Scruggs, I'm so glad that my brother's on. He's not feeling too well, but he's on today. So thank you, Pastor Scruggs. So listen, we're gonna start. I'm gonna ask you guys again to tag and share. And as you come in, just say hey so that we could acknowledge you. So I have a young lady that I met on Facebook, Miss Kimberly Lewis. She's our panelist for today, and she's going to take us down her journey to becoming an author, a poet, and whatever else she wants to share. So hi, Kim, how are you?
Good day. I am well. I am well, and thank you so very much for having me here. I really do appreciate it
Oh,
very
you're
much
welcome.
for
You're
sharing your
welcome.
platform with me.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, sometimes, you know, that not sometimes, all the time, that's how God works, you know. And
Yes.
I'm just grateful that whoever was supposed to be on is not on today, and we'll get them later. You know what I mean? So it was meant for you to come on today. So that's awesome. So I just want you to introduce yourself and then just begin to take us down the journey of you becoming a businesswoman, an author, you know, wherever you want to start is how we're going to follow.
Yes, ma'am. Well, good day. And again, my name is Lewis YK. I am the author, of 2 books, Some Lessons of Life Through Poetry, Spring Volume 1, and my new children's book, All These Hands, A Day in the Life of Erin Lee. And how I got started is I got hurt on the job. My plan was not to not to be a writer, but uh, actually to start my manufacturing company, but it didn't work out.
Okay.
I was permanently disabled and going through a divorce at the time, and I needed something to release. I needed a release, and basically just by putting a pen in my hand and my hand to paper started this long journey for me, which has been rewarding, exciting. I had a little fear in the beginning because when I was putting out or trying to get representation for my children's book, every door that I went to was closed. We're not looking for this type of manuscript, or it doesn't fit into our category of what we deem family related. I'm assuming so.
Right.
I just got fed up, and I'm like, you know what? My children was like, why don't you just do it yourself? And that's how it began. A leap of faith, because I've had the work. I've always written ever since I was a child. Um, I'm just a imaginative person
Okay.
by heart. So, and it just pours out once I sit down um, with the pen in my hand. That's my story.
Okay, so you said something earlier that you wanted to start a manufacturing company. What were you planning on manufacturing?
Well, I have a couple inventions. Uh,
Oh, okay.
it's yeah, yeah. So that was the line that I was going down. I designed furniture for my children, and the people I've shared them with, they was like, I would like to have a bed. And I tried to have some people to make it to my specification, and every time they just messed it up. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's a sign to say I have to do this myself.
Right, right.
So
Well, I think that's awesome. Well, you know what? Sometimes what we want to do in the beginning, we could put it on the back burner and do something
that's
else, to get the wheel turning. So I can't wait
correct.
to see your furniture line. How about that? Let's speak that into the atmosphere. Let's
That
call
is
it into
correct.
existence. Listen,
Correct.
you just never know. I've watched some people put inventions on YouTube. I could watch YouTube all day. People taking crates and making furniture. So hey, we're gonna be looking for that in a couple of years down, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Louis YK Innovations. I have it.
Yeah. Hi, Edna. Um, yeah, so and I heard you say you were going through a divorce. So was it everything that was happening during the divorce time that made you want to release?
Yes, I was in domestic violence. It,
Oh,
it, I can't say it crept up in the relationship. There was signs, and I just refused to acknowledge them. So, in being married for a number of years and having my children in it, I could not justify and say, do as I say and not as I do. I
right.
could not justify that. So, um, after coming out of the hospital, having emergency surgery, um, enough was enough. And the day my grandmother passed away was the day I decided I was leaving.
So what do you think actually made you stay? Was it because of the children and you just ignored the signs, or what was it? Because I'm
I,
sure that somebody may be listening, because I don't want to just like with something like that. I don't want you to go so far where if it brings up bad memories, then you don't have to. But just to give somebody who may be watching, who may be in a relationship such as that, just to give them some type of a light somewhere down the tunnel that, yes, I understand I was there, but if you see that light, there's an opening for you.
It was my own history that made me susceptible to it. Being a child of molestation by a number of people in a small period of time, space really just messed with my own psyche and my own self-worth. And um, it just, it made it easy, you
Easy to
know,
say.
for as in my marriage, I accepted things in my marriage. As a single woman, I wouldn't dare.
Mhm.
So I had a lot of anger with myself for all because I said those words, I do, changed me. And it didn't
Mhm.
change me for the better. I should have grown and matured and blossomed in that marriage. But, when you're dealing with damaged materials, not fresh ingredients, it spells disaster. It doesn't matter how many excuses or things that lies I told myself to say, oh, I'm staying for the children. Basically, I got comfortable. I knew how to navigate that situation better than being a single mother with 3 children, um, going out into the world. It was just comfortable. And my psyche was, once I got married, it was for life.
Right, right.
I
And
was
I,
brought up in the church. And although my mother divorced early, well, she divorced, but I didn't want that for myself nor for my children because I knew what that felt like.
yeah, and I think that as women, sometimes it's very hard. Um, Sometimes I think we may feel like we're a failure, if we leave, because I said this, I'm marrying for better, for worse, for richer,
Yes.
for poor, and we really take our vows to heart. And so sometimes we will endure things that we would never endure for the sake of honoring our vow. So I thank you so much. I kind of see it's just that really wasn't a good time for you, but you know what? I'm grateful that,
Thankful for it. I am
yeah,
so thankful for it. Uh, be, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my marriage, if it wasn't for my husband. I have mixed views and thoughts and emotions when I think back on it, but I couldn't change a single thing,
mm,
not one single thing, because it made me stronger and it made me the woman I am today. And that's why I write. That's why I tell my truth. And hopefully it would reach another woman. To For myself, I had to realize I was the only common denominator in all of it. In
mhm.
every situation that ever happened to me, every bad choice, I was the only common denominator. So it forced me to look at myself within myself, to say, you know, you're broken, you're damaged, and that you need help. And I had a relationship with God, but for whatever reason, I felt like I wasn't worthy. And once I came out of the religious aspect of who the creator was, things just started to make sense for me. And I realized that the Elohim that created heaven and earth would not want his child to be in a situation like that will end her life, because I was clearly, I promise you, I was on death door a many of days.
And you know what? And I think that that happens as well when you're in an abusive relationship. Like you said, it's comfortable. You knew how to navigate. You knew how to navigate it, because anything outside of that, it was unknown to you. But the good thing I think that you said is that I wouldn't change it for anything, because it made me who I am. I'm grateful for my marriage. And for those of you who may have been in an abusive relationship or who's in an abusive relationship, you can look at this young lady, Miss Lewis YK or Kimberly Lewis, and see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Nicole said your pain produced your purpose.
It did.
Yeah, so listen, if you're in an abusive relationship, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Um, if you would just, I guess, look within yourself and see that um, there's a way out. I can't tell you what the way out is, but you would be able to see that there is a way out. And when that door opens, you got to run for your life and
Oh,
never.
I like to. Okay. I would also like to add one thing too. Uh, Leaving is the easy part. For any woman that is in a situation, in a marriage, an abusive relationship, leaving is easy. The hard part is what comes next. I was told that as long as I was in my marriage, I couldn't get any assistance. But
Mm,
once I left that marriage and went into a domestic violence shelter, um, it if you are not set in your path, I'm going to ask you, don't leave, because you will only create more problems and a more dangerous situation for yourself if you're not set, if you haven't set your mind to actually being free, because leaving is easy. Getting out into the world, trying to navigate your marriage outside of it,
mm,
where in my case, I was a stay-at-home mom after I had my last daughter. um, I became a stay-at-home mom. And after all of my resources were depleted, then that's when I really saw the big change or the shift in the marriage, to where I wasn't as, in my eyes, as valuable or wanted as much. Um, and and when you let other people into your marriage, it spells disaster. So by all means, once you leave, you cannot return, because if you return, you know, most of the women, they always plan to leave but fail because they died in the planning, because they were premature. They really were not set in actually being free.
okay.
It's one thing to say, I want to be free, but the hardest thing to do is to stay in it when the darkness comes. It will always come. You will start to second guess yourself. Did I make the right decision by pulling my children out of a home, out of an environment that they knew? And now we're into a shelters where we are living around strange people, where we're being told when you get up, when you
Right.
go to bed, what you can do and what you can't do. And I saw in that a lot of women fail. They failed because they felt like it was easier
To
with
go back.
him than it was to be in this new system. I had so much comfort in the new system. All of my medical issues went away. I was very stressed, to where I was getting spinal taps every 68 weeks to remove fluid from my brain from a tumor I didn't have. It was called pseudotumor cerebri. Every
Like a
68
pseudo
weeks
pregnancy. Yeah.
for a tumor I did not have, but the stress of the relationship, the stress of being in a toxic relationship, a toxic environment, caused my body to react in a way that was foreign to me. I was about to lose my sight, my vision was here. They were
Mm,
talking about putting a shunt into my brain to continually to remove the fluid. So, but once I had my first good night's sleep in the shelter, and a month later, all the medication that I was on, I was completely off. The breathing apparatuses I was using, completely off, and I've never felt better. My
and
skin.
that was the result of the stress of being in an abusive relationship. And I think one thing that we want those who may be in an abusive relationship is to know that you are worthy. You
You
are
are.
worthy. Uh, um, you're not garbage. You're not a piece of garbage that someone will throw out. You are worthy. You are who you are, and you will be able to change someone else's life once you are set in your mind that you are ready to leave. And I think one good thing that she said is that for those of you who are in an abusive relationship, if you're not ready mentally to leave, then don't leave. Because if you leave and go back, you may not be able to survive the beating that you would get. And I think that we all have heard of horror stories of women who went back, and unfortunately it was to their demise. So we
Mhm.
don't want you to leave prematurely. As she said, you have to be set. That's mentally, you have to know what you're doing and where you want to go, and to know that there is help out there. And I think that one thing that we forget is that there's help. Nowadays, there's so much help available for domestic violence, I have to tell you guys, if I had known she was going to talk about domestic violence, I would have put some information up. But Kiera, if you could put up some information on domestic violence, like where they could who they could reach out to, that would help so much. But listen, like exactly, Lydia, God does not make any junk. You're not junk. You're not trash. You can dust yourself off and start a new life. All you have to do is think of it as I always think of going through trials as dirty laundry. It's heavy. When you're in a situation, it's heavy. Trying to carry that bag of dirty clothes, it's so heavy. But once you put the clothes into the washing machine and it gets washed, when you take them out and you dry them, they are so light. So for those of you who feel that you're not worthy, and that you're carrying a lot of weight, I hope that you heard what she said in reference to um, she was going through so much stress that she had a pseudo tumor. So the tumor was not there, but it was because of the stress that she was going through. So listen, there is help. We're going to have Kiera's going to find that information for us, and she's going to put up a website or a 800 number that you can reach out to. And it's, you know what, it's not only women, because some men are being abused and you are so afraid to
That is so true. And I met, believe it or not, men of survivors of domestic violence. And I'm telling you, the same, because it's not always, it doesn't start out physical. I want people to know that it is not a punch or a kick or a strike. It starts with subtle changes. You know, I could have sworn I ordered checks. Where did those checks go? They start messing with your mail. They start uh, messing with your bank account. They start taking money. They start moving things that you know. I've had these things in place now. All of a sudden, where are they? And it's done over time, so slowly. Their moves are so calculating that you don't even see it until it's actually in your face. And it kind of be caught off guard by the subtleness of it. But again, I cannot blame him. I saw signs. Again, I seen it. I chose to ignore it. It's like, no, I must be imagining things. But
Mhm.
my father kept showing me things. And I'm like, no, I think I might be picky because I can't be picky. I might just be overthinking things. But please never second guess yourself. Don't do it. And it comes in the form of your finances. It comes in the form of even the very food that you're accustomed to. changing it, you'd be like, power play. I'm just going to see what I can and cannot do, or what
Mhm.
I can get away with, or what I can just make it, easy. It's like, oh yeah, I just forgot. It started with simple things. And then before you know it, you've got this 800-pound rock you're holding, and you're like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and like I said, ladies, can you turn your volume down on something? Is it is it a kickback?
Not that I hear, but
Oh,
I can't.
okay.
Is this better?
Yeah, I think it's yeah, because then I don't hear it too much. So
Okay.
Kiara put up the 800 number, the national number for domestic violence. I see Cynthia Britt and Kiara, they're putting up some their comments. I know Nicole had put up some comments. So some of them I can't really read long. I'll look back and read them, but those of you that are on today, you can read them. Um, it- like I think the main thing is to, as she said, trust your gut. If it's subtle, if he hit you one time, that's one time too many. If he verbally abuses you, that's one time
Yes.
too many. If he plays psyche, play games with your mind, that's one time too many. I see one of my
Mhm.
well, I know Nicole says she would cut somebody, but I also see my girlfriend Zamia on here, and these ladies, they don't play. So, but um uh it's so important. I think the main thing that we want to make sure that you understand is that there's help. There's help. You're not in it by yourself. The main thing is to, as she said earlier, make sure your mind is set. Because if it's not set on making change, you will go back and the abuse will escalate. So I just want to say thank you. I didn't realize we was going to go down that street, but it's okay. You know why? Because someone needs to know or to see someone who has triumphed, who has been triumphant in domestic violence. So thank you so much for taking us down that journey. Sometimes those things are not always good to share, but thank you for sharing that part. So we appreciate
Yes.
that, and I really believe that it's going to help someone, whether it's male or female. Whether it's a young girl that's dating a young boy and he hits her, he calls her out of her name, uh, um, he threatens her, because sometimes I see some of those videos where the boys threaten a girl and he slaps her, he calls her all out of her name. And these are young people. These are not older. These like 13, 14. I couldn't date, that time. My mother's like, "Oh, you don't have no real boyfriend." But now the dating process with with this generation is different. So hopefully if some of these millennials watch this video, just know that that's not right. That's not what a relationship is. He shouldn't call you out your name. He shouldn't threaten you. He shouldn't put his hands on you. Um, um, he shouldn't call you names, stupid, whatever. You are more than that. Just know that you are more than that, that you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. All of us are gorgeous in our own right, and you have to know that for yourself. But there is help. There is help. The 800 number is in the comments. So okay, so we went through that process, and you said that during that time it pushed you to writing. So as you said, you always wrote as a child. So what type of
Yep.
writings did you do?
It was always poetry. Poetry, just one, two, dot lines, narrative writings. I mean, I can just take an idea and just write and write and write and write. But the more I honed in my skills, I was able to get more concise and create these narratives uh, that hopefully would make uh, readers think.
Hmm.
I want to say that's my main point, is to bring out something that is in their face, but yet they have not seen. So, so yes, and honestly, by putting a pen in my hand and my hand to paper, saved my life. It
Wow.
really did.
So you were able to get a lot of the anger, the hurt, uh, uh, things that you were thinking out of your mind and just
I
put it to
had to, because while I was in counseling, she says you don't smile. My expression was just as blank as a wall, because any type of emotion just increased it or prolonged whatever I was experiencing at the time. So now I'm able to smile, and I'm the most funniest person I know. So,
right.
so I'm just being more true to myself. And like I said, I wouldn't change a single thing. But and that's how some lessons of life came about. Honestly, there you go. That's
There you
how
go. Okay, good.
that came about. So by putting the pen in my hand, uh, I just started to write out my experiences, my thoughts, my hurt, by really just looking closely at myself, and and pointing a finger at myself, because if you point the finger at one, you have three other digits coming back to you. So I bear the majority of my situation, and I wholeheartedly accept it. And once I did, I was free.
Okay.
And that's the truth for me.
Hmm. And listen, ladies, everybody's truth is different, and we do understand that sometimes once the spirit of fear has been instilled in you, you are not going to do anything. So we understand that. But what we're just saying is that there is help out there for you. I think for those of you who are just coming on, this is our author, Lewis YK.
Yes.
You'll see her on Facebook as Kimberly Lewis. She was just sharing part of her journey dealing, being in a domestic violent relationship. And what we're saying is that we understand the spirit of fear. We understand being overpowered. We understand thinking that you're not worthy. But we just want you to know that you are worthy. Look at Lewis YK and see that you are able to get out of it. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And her pain produced her purpose, as Nicole said, and she wrote a book. Can you hold it up again?
Okay. My pleasure.
Okay, some lessons of life through poetry. So sometimes everybody may not put pen to paper. You may sew, you may cook. Listen, you could build an establishment on cooking, you can build an establishment on sewing. Uh, you may want to be a mentor, or you may just want to hug people. There is a mother from Pleasant Grove, Mother Merle Chavis, who hugs you. And by the time she finishes hugging you, whatever it is that you're feeling, it has gone away. So you might be the person who smiles when you've been delivered out of that domestic violent relationship. Your smile may brighten up a day, whatever it is. We just want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But she also said you have to make sure that your mind is set on leaving. So, okay, so we talked about your pain produced your purpose, lessons through life. Let's hear um, one of your poems, whichever one you would like to recite to us.
Okay, let me just see. We can go to. Hmm. First time. First time was the last time lightning struck twice. The first time was the last time I was struck on the head. The first time was the last time I fell into the wall. The first time was the last time I felt my bowels rip through my flesh. The first time was the last time you put your hands on me. The first time was the last time you saw a change in me. This time was the last.
And what inspired that? Of course, we know what inspired that.
Uh, it's when I was given the strength that was not my own to subdue my abuser and put him under my feet. And that is actually what happened.
Okay.
And I knew what I experienced. It was not my strength that put him down. It was the strength of the Father. I know what real power feels like, and it's not, that power is controlled. It wasn't chaotic, but once I felt his surrender, I was able then to tend to my children, because that was the time that I've actually felt my bowels rip through my flesh. And then days later, I was in the hospital to have an emergency surgery.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm just trying to imagine you during that time. And I don't even see any residue of that upon you. So I mean, God is awesome. The Father is,
My Father is good.
the Father is awesome. And a
He
lot of people are not, they don't feel free to share that. You know what I mean? So you do not look like what you've gone through. He's so
all
awesome.
praises.
He has given you a inner peace that is shown on today. Um, I think before we came on, you read She. So
I did.
can you read She for us?
It'll be my pleasure. Okay. She. She comes in darkness, in the space where only the sound of a whisper can be heard. I love her. I desire her. Remembering her landscapes of muted hues of pinks and black, intermingled, drawn in the shadows of my dream into a pool of which I want to drink of, submerging myself into. My eyes gaze upon a scene of view that lingers in darkness, shadows of the night being caught by the reflection of the gift that is before me. I've stalked her. I've wanted her. I wanted her to call my name, say my name. I wanted her over me. I wanted her to make me her seat. I wanted her to nurse me from her breast, flowing with the gift of life. I found her, this unsuspecting girl, who has my heart, but another I belong. She knows nothing of me, of my longing for the first embrace, the warmth of her mouth to mine, hearing her breathing softly as I caress her, smelling the perfume of her scent as it permeates deep within me, imagining, feeling the waters flowing over me as she calling my name, saying my name. She comes, only in the whisper of my mind. She comes.
So let's give them the backdrop of that poem.
Okay, and this is a poem that I wrote looking through the lenses of my husband's eyes, searching for me, thinking that I was lost, but I was standing there in front of him all along. So he's longing for this person, but I'm right here. But he doesn't see me, and I don't see the reflection of myself in his eyes anymore. So that's how that poem came about.
And ladies, sometimes we love hard. We love hard. We're nurturers. We're able to birth things, and sometimes life can make us feel that we're just, like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't he see me like he used to see me? I'm the same person. I'm still, you know, helping to bring his dreams to life. I'm still all of that. But you know what? Sometimes you can't make a person love you. Not sometimes, no time. You can't make a person love you. In spite of what you do and how you do. So just know that it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with him. Hurt people hurt people.
They do.
And so if that person has not had the ability to be or to experience counseling to deal with their hurts, to deal with things that happens in their life, they're going to put that misplaced anger onto you. So the thing about it is that listen, if he no longer sees you the way he used to see you, it's okay. It's okay. Life happens, things change, but at the end of the day, just know that you are worth it. And I think that this is the consensus for today, is that you are worth it. When you look at Kimberly, you do not see someone who went through an abusive relationship, or whatever comes with an abusive relationship. When you see her, you see someone who's smiling, you see someone who has inner peace. And the thing about it is that the same way that she was able to come through it, you can come through it too. The Father God is awesome. If you grab a hold to him during your dark times, let me tell you, you will get strength like no other. You will have an inner peace that you never had before. And he will show you how to navigate, because she said something earlier that it's on both sides. So for those of you who are just coming in, she said that it was easier for her to stay because she could navigate it. But once you put everything into the Father's hands, it will become easier for you to navigate to get out. Okay. I just want to open up the floor to our audience. If you have any comments. And Cynthia, I see a lot of what you're writing. I can't see it all right now, so please forgive me if I'm not acknowledging it, but I will go back and look at it. I think that you were saying that you were in, let me see if I could pull some up. I'm sorry. Okay, so well, Cynthia was in an abusive relationship as well, but she thanked God that he allowed her to live. So we're
Hallelujah.
totally, yeah, we are totally excited that you're no longer in that situation, that God has allowed you to live, as you said.
Hallelujah.
So we are grateful for that. you know yes, and we do, as women, we do love hard. We do. And
Yes.
it's sometimes we love so hard till we forget to love ourselves. you know um
I have a question. I want to point something out.
mhm,
In that, I couldn't love myself because I wasn't loving the Father. And and again, this is going to go back to me and into my faith of what really grounded me is once I truly understood the love for the Father,
mhm,
it gave me courage because He didn't give me the spirit of fear.
yes,
That spirit does not belong to Him. So, uh, with that being said, once you can truly understand what the Word is saying, and have it to dwell within you, there's nothing that can stop you, because I went into the courtrooms with $0, no attorney. I'm telling you, it took me 6 years to get divorced. And
Wow.
it $0, no attorney, no nothing. And the courts moved in my favor. Moved in my favor. He had his parents and an attorney, and yet it's still, I'm up there. I'm thinking I'm by myself, but the Father, if He be for you, who can stand
Yes.
against you? And that is what I started to understand and see.
And that's so true, because you know what, God's love for us is so unconditional. We don't have to be, we don't have to look a certain way. We don't have to have long hair, short hair. We don't have to have a hour shaped a figure. Um, you know what? He just loves us for who we are, and that love casts out all fear. It
Yes.
removes the fear, and you know, and like you said, it helps you to love you more, because sometimes we may feel that we're loving ourselves, and we're really not. We're really not. We have put ourselves in so many positions that um, having the ability to experience love has gone out the door. It's gone out the window, because we don't even know what real love is. But as you said, once we have allowed the Father to love us and to remove that fear, because perfect love casts out all fear. That's what the Word of God says. It casts out all fear. You don't even you don't even think about fear. It's just that, you know what? My Father loves me. I am awesome. I'm beautiful. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I have a new day and a new chance on it for me, not to get it for anybody else, but to get it for me. I can enjoy life. And that is just so important. We have a question. Where can we purchase this awesome masterpiece?
Thank you. You can go to my website, which is www.lykeshops.com. I'm independent. I'm an independent
Okay.
author.
Are you able to type that into the comments on the Facebook Live?
I don't know, but I will see if I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, see if you could put it in the chat. Okay. Um, Hold on. I'm going to write. Oh, wait a minute.
While you do that, I would like to go ahead and read another poem. It's called Centered.
Yes.
I no longer give without a care. I no longer give without a thought. I no longer give without a purpose. I no longer give without a reason. I no longer give without a, because I am centered, aligned with the one. And because of that, I was able to be free. It gave me a joy, and all of the turmoil that I was in, I had a perfect peace,
Mm-hmm.
because my husband at the time came home and said, either I put you in a mental institution or we get a divorce. And I said, I guess we're getting a divorce, because the only thing crazy about me is you. And when my father was started to bring me into alignment with
Mm-hmm.
him, I became centered, and nothing that he did bothered me at all. He, I had a quarter tank gas ration that um, was I had to use in order to take the children back and forth from school, art lessons, uh, whatever activity that they had. And he would get in the car and use my quarter tank, but never understood at this time I had no other income other than what he brought into the house. And yet and still, how was this car still going with this quarter tank of gas with all the miles that I was driving? He never could understand it, but I had a perfect peace that he could not understand. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful, regardless of what he did, what he said. I would go around the house singing, praising the Most High. And I became centered so much that I also created a journal from that poem. And I would like to just share that as
Yes,
well.
yes.
It is the journal, it's the centered and aligned journal. Also, that is also found on my website.
Okay. Um, I I am so grateful that we met. I'm so grateful that you shared your journey because a lot, like I said, a lot of women are so fearful, and we just never know what each other are going through. You know, am I my sister's keeper? Yes, I am. I really
Yes.
am. I am my sister's keeper. And one thing I just want to stress for those of you who are just coming on, um, we have been talking about domestic violence. Even though she's an author, it birthed her books. So what we're trying to convey to women, whatever women, young girls that are watching today, and guess what? Whatever men may be watching, because it's not only women that are in abusive relationships, but it's also men. What we want to
Right.
convey is that you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are worth it. You're not a piece of trash. You're not you're not someone to be walked upon. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You have the ability to start over again. One thing that she said was that you have to make sure that your mind is set. Just explain that for us again, what you mean by that.
Because if your mind is not set, you're on unstable ground, and you will be doomed to repeat that same cycle over and over and over again. But this time, the freedoms that you once had, you won't have those particular freedoms because you've already disrupted his psyche. You already messed with his power. And once his power is messed with, that is when he will bring those rings down on you harshly. Not only you, but it could possibly spill over into your children. And that is what happened to me in my household. And I was perfectly fine when when the attention was brought over to me, but once it started to spill over into my children, that whole meekness changed, my whole demeanor changed. It's fine, I married you, but our children didn't.
Right.
Just like your parents secured your household, made you feel comfortable, guess what? I will do the same thing. And that switch and that dynamic really, I'm going to say, amped him up. And instead of me going to attack, I was on a defensive. I didn't do or say anything until he started to affect my children. Um, in his um, in his moment of lax, my daughter was injured where she broke her neck, not once, but twice.
Oh my
She was in
God.
a neck brace for 3 years. She was diagnosed with post-concussive syndrome, and this was
Now,
during
what
the
is
time,
that?
she had so many concussions that normal lights, sound, uh, her memory, all of that is being affected. And I had to build her back up, uh, literally, to where we would have to tiptoe around her. She was in a neck brace for 3 years straight.
Jesus.
And the courts, uh, were not very kind to me, because at the time they was like, well, Mrs. Ma'am, you are throwing everything but the kitchen sink. But all of those things that I was bringing to the court is like, that's hearsay. Well, the only people that are my witnesses are my children.
Mhm.
And my children could not testify to the behavior or the abuse in the household.
Wow.
And when I said, well, I demand that the courts call my children, I was deemed an unfit parent because I wanted to bring the children into it. But I had no witnesses because he was so undercover with it. He was a doting husband, and I was in and out of the hospital. It's like every other month I was having surgery, hospitalized. Just every week it was something. And he was always there. I mean, a very loving husband. You couldn't tell me that this woman is not loved. You couldn't tell me that he is not taking care of those children.
But they're very,
And
they're
that's
very smart. They're very smart. They're
they
cunning,
are.
and they know how to hide it, to make it appear as if you're the one that's crazy. I am just so blessed by your story. I'm also blessed by some of the stories that some of the women are sharing. Cynthia Britt, my childhood friend, Althea Morris, um, who have gone through domestic violence and they're still alive, you know,
Yes.
and that's the main thing. To be able to tell your story, you know, and
And
to
still
show,
have joy.
yes. And yes, and right, another Nicole said they're also manipulating. They are
Very.
very manipulating. And so this has really been an eye opener, to give more insight as to what happens in an abusive relationship. For those of you who have been sharing your story while we have been talking, I really believe that the more you share it, the more freer that you become. I know that whoever watches this after today will definitely be encouraged. They will make sure that their mind is set so that way when they leave, they leave. I had a friend of mine, she told me that she left with just the clothes on her back and she never looked back. She never looked back. She said, I left with the clothes on my back. A friend heard about her story and they made sure that she was okay. But if she hadn't left with just the clothes on her back, she may not be here today. So I just want all of us to know that we are so worth it. God does not make any junk, as Lydia said earlier. God doesn't make any junk. Um, we all have been fearfully and wonderfully made by the Father. There isn't anybody else that's like us. He created each one of us to be individuals, to be different. We're all different shapes, different sizes, have different hair, have different smiles. We have different attributes. But guess what? We are worth it. We are worthy to be loved. Don't allow anybody to tell you anything different. If you're in a relationship and he only wants you to be around him, that's a red flag.
It is.
That's a red flag. Why? You met me, I had friends. Why don't you want me to be around my friends? You met me, I had friends, I had associates. If they don't want you to be around nobody, not even your family, not even to be around your mother, That's a red flag, ladies. And for the young women that's going to listen, you were not made to be beat upon. You were not made to be spoken ill of, ill to. You are not a female dog. No, I despise that word. And when I see some of the reality shows and they greet each other with that word, I hate it. I don't like that word. But you are worth it. You are worth it. If for nobody else but yourself, know that you are worth it. That is not a relationship. God did not take us from the rib of Adam to be spit upon, to be walked on, to be talked down to be spoken ill to. He didn't make us for that. We're there to be a helpmeet. We're there to birth new life. We're there to nurture. We're there to do all kind of wonderful things that only we can do. That's why we're so wonderful. You know, God has given us the ability to birth, whether you birth naturally or whether you birth spiritually. We have the ability to nurture people, to nurture them back to life, to guide them. God has given us as females all of this stuff. So know that you are worth it. Know that there's nobody else like you, and there is somebody waiting to hear your story. There's somebody waiting on you to say, hey, look, you can make it. I just came out of that, and you can make it. You are worth it. You are gorgeous. You are fabulous. You are a fashionista. Oh man, what else? You are magnificent. All of the above. How beautiful are you with your nappy hair? I don't have my sister. My sister can go to the Dominicans, get her hair blown out, and you would think she have a perm. Listen, if I went after a couple of days, this stuff is going to shrink up. So I don't have that kind of hair. But you know what? It's okay. You know what? We all are made so different.
Yes.
That's the world what you to birth. You are to you are here to shed knowledge to somebody, because guess what? Somebody has walked is walking in the shoes that you used to wear. You know, there were some shoes that you used to wear that somebody's wearing right now, and they just need to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So
There
uh,
is.
this is this story has, I'm sure, allowed other people to not be afraid to share. I'm looking at some of the comments. I can't see all of them, but I'm looking at some of them. And for those of you who are sharing in the comments, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for,
you so much.
yes, thank you for being transparent along with uh, Kim. And that transparency is going to help somebody else who's going to look at this somewhere down the line. Okay? Somewhere down the line. When you are a survivor, guess what? You have survived for someone else. And the peace, I'm looking at her, and my heart is just overjoyed. I'm looking at some of the stories, Cynthia Britt, Althea, and some of their stories of being abused in an abusive relationship, and they don't look like what they've been through, and neither do you. So it's just, oh God, I have been so encouraged. Spirit has been lifted just by listening to your story. And for those of you who are sharing, I have been lifted because I'm looking at some of the comments. I have been lifted, and I'm sure that you have been lifted too. And you know what? Whenever we wake up, it's a day that we can start all over.
It is. It is. It is. If you choose to walk in the truth, the path will be laid at your feet. I promise you, it will be. A path will just spring up out of nowhere. You will be, just as my book cover. I was planted by a river of waters, and I'm telling you, I'm overflowing, actually. In all of my life, I've never felt this good because I was wrapped up. The thing about the Most High, the things that you coveted the most, He will take away from you. And I coveted the things that I could build with my own hands, the
Mhm.
things that uh, the my physique, me keeping in shape and eating healthy, my hair, um, my car, my things, my bank account. When I tell you, when He works with you, He will prune all of the insignificant things back down. And once you are pruned, you're going to look real raggedy. But I tell you, because all of the energy you spent with all of these things, it doesn't matter. You're able to put it into your root and you're actually being grounded. Once you can connect with the power, things just, things that used to matter don't matter.
Mhm.
The things that used to give you joy repulses you.
So you
Only
just said
things you will
about pruning. What is that? Explain that to us.
pruning. Yes, I have this. I have a poem by the name of Flowers. Basically, it goes through of how He pruned away all my broken and damaged and diseased limbs. Literally, literally, uh, by people, by things, by the things that I thought I needed, the things that I thought that I needed. I don't need those things to survive. It was just, I guess, keeping up with the Joneses, but not really. But it,
Go ahead.
and
I'm
once,
sorry.
and once He did all of that, I felt free.
Right.
It is not me jumping through hoops to look at society, because the way that I was shaped and the way that I was built, I hated my figure. But He made me fearfully. He made me beautifully, and my figure is like, it brought me unwanted attention, the attention that I didn't know how to handle. And because of that, that led into molestation at a very early age. And I just wanted to just disappear. And I'm like, why would you make me this way if this is how people are going to treat me?
Right. Right.
So where is the support? Where is the protection that was afforded to me? And that's what you alluded to in the poem, the narrative writing that I wrote, the unsent letter. So that was me just expressing all of the things that I wish I could have told my mom back in the day.
Right.
uh, because my abusers, they use your love for your family against you. If you tell your mama won't love you, she won't look at you the same way. So I stay silent.
Yeah, and
I
that's what
stay
they do. Yes, as you said, they won't believe you. You know, they won't believe you. So you could tell them anything, they're not going to believe you. They're going to call you a liar, and so you hide the abuse.
And it's not only that, you have the perpetrator's mother tell you she wanted it. This is what happened. Told my mother she wanted it to happen. Honey, I'm a child. I am a
Right.
child. I am a child. So I was very insecure within my own body to begin with. So I didn't know how to date. I didn't know how to um how to be a woman who has been preyed upon at such a young age. So that led to me being free or unfree, or testing waters in places that I shouldn't have been, trying to seek security and where there was really no security anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the manipulative side of them. See, they know how to single somebody out and to um, make that person. I'm trying to think of the word. Prey upon that person and abuse them and make them realize that, hey, You can say whatever you want to say. They're not going to believe you. They're going to believe me. They're going to call you fast. They're going to call you all kinds of names, and you believe that. So that's why I was saying earlier is that once that spirit of fear or that spirit of rejection from everybody has been instilled in you, you're not going to say anything. You're going to be quiet about the whole,
And complicit.
you know. I had opened up the floor, but I guess we have all of the comments, all of the questions so far. But I just want to say again, thank you so much. It has blessed me, has given me more insight, and your poems are thought-provoking. They're going to make you think. So can you just hold up your books again?
Yes. What can I do with it? Okay. Some Lessons of Life Through Poetry, Spring Volume 1, and my children's book, All These Hands, A Day in the Life of Aaron Lee. And this was written back in 2013, right before I left.
Wow.
So on my mother's birthday, which is my second born day. So yeah, August the 23rd, 2013 is when I was reborn.
Wow. And you know what? And we all have two birthdays. Sometimes I think we have different ones. You know why? Because life,
Yes.
life's lessons. So, you may be in one situation right now, but when you come out of it, that's a new birth, so we all have different birthdays of different things that we have gone through. Do you have any parting words that you would like to leave with us?
So just to believe, trust in yourself, trust in the word, trust in the gift that you was given, trust in the word that you were given when you were covered in darkness, that you received when you were in the light.
Mhm.
Because my belief is before we were all sent to earth, we had our instructions. We were in the light. But once we come through and down that birth canal into the darkness, we forget what our true instructions are or
Mhm.
were when we left the Father. And then we came into this world through the birth canal. So just to remember to strip everything back and to remember what you were told in the light when you were covered in darkness.
And
So that would be my parting words.
wow. And thank you so much, because we do have to remember who we are in order to move forward. Sometimes we forget. Thank you so much. As I said again, this was definitely a blessing. And like I said, thank you for being transparent. Thank you for taking us through the darkness. In order for us to get to the light, sometimes we do have to go through the darkness. And I think we have been saying it throughout today. Ladies, you are not meant to be abused. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are not trash. You are not meant to be spoken ill to. You are not the B word. You are not a whore. You are not none of those things. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. And for those of you who are just coming on, just look at the replay. Look at the replay. You are looking at a survivor. You are looking at someone who is triumphant because of her faith in the Father. So thank you again. You can look in the comments and see how to purchase her books. Can you show us your books again?
Some Lessons of Life Through Poetry, Spring Volume 1, and All These Hands, A Day in the Life of Aaron Lee. Also available.
There you go. So you can look through the comments. I put up her website. On tomorrow we have a special presentation with Dr. Adina Berkowitz. She's going to share with us how the Jewish community celebrates the Passover. I've never seen it. I think it's going to be something something to behold, something to see, something to learn. So look for us tomorrow at 5:30 as we see how our Jewish brothers and sisters celebrate the Passover. Again, thank you so much. You can find her book at www.lykeyshops.com. All right. Thank you again, guys. You guys are so supportive. You've been with me since last year, since the pandemic has started. You come on every Monday. And if it wasn't for you, Lamb's Facebook Live wouldn't be what it is. So thank you so much. Thank you for tagging and sharing. Thank you for introducing me to some wonderful people who have been our panelists. It has been a blessing. I hope that you have been as encouraged as I have been. Look for us tomorrow, 5:30, as we see how our Jewish brothers and sisters celebrate the Passover. Again, if you would like to purchase her books, it's www.lykeshops.com. Have a good night. Thank you so much, and we will definitely talk. God bless everybody.